Hello and welcome to November 14th, 2022. My name is Kurt and this is my daily Good Life meditation video, something that I do each and every morning just after waking up. It's 4:22 a.m. right now, and I do this in order to remember my life objectives and principles and to see how I did applying those to the challenges and opportunities I faced yesterday, including last night, how I slept, and then I plan for the coming day. In between those two activities, I recount each and every one of the objectives and principles, and to a greater or lesser degree, talk about and examine them. And by the way, good morning, Parker. All right, so first, yesterday and last night. Slept really good last night. Only woke up just once, like just before the alarm went off with the strangest dream. Dreamed I was sitting in a rental vehicle of some sort, and the police, I don't know why I was sitting in the vehicle without going anywhere, and the police had accosted me with some strange charge about something that sounded metaphysical. It's really a weird, wild dream. Don't know. And then the alarm went off. Already making up my excuses. I told them I was waiting for my brother. I'm not usually one to lie. I don't know why I did that. Should have just said sorry and got out of the vehicle or took their citation and left. One or the other. Not proud of myself, not proud of my behavior in my dreams, in that particular dream. Anyway, otherwise I slept really good. Got to bed probably around 9 p.m. and with the exception of that one up, just slept solid all through the night. I feel good now as a result. Amazing what a good night's sleep will do. Yesterday was a very nice day. Yumiko and I had a really good time together, just mostly fiddling around in our little place. I put up some pictures here in the office, and then Yumiko made a really nice lunch, and then we went to IKEA, and we went shopping at Trader Joe's, and came back and spent the evening. We had dinner, and then we spent the evening assembling some furniture. I got a new stand to hold my Bible. I like to have my Bible in a good open position because I read it a lot, and I want to be able to access it. I like it to be in a standing position so I can take it seriously and stand there and read it. And I've got it all set up now. It looks really nice. It's very, very inviting, welcoming. Other than that, I had a great time at the beach. As I left to go out, I yelled to Yumiko, "I'm going for a swim." And she said, "Can't you hear the wind?" It was really blowing, and it was blowing, and it was cold. It felt good to jump in the ocean. And my favorite part is when I dive into the waves, because usually I try to wait until a wave is coming. I dive under the wave, and then the wave rolls over me, and it's like a torpedoing along under the wave, just below the surface, and you can feel the wave go overhead, the chill, the cold, rattling the body, and it's becoming a daily experience, and I really do enjoy that. It's my favorite part. And then the other favorite part is the lingering effect of a daily swim in the ocean. It's kind of like the effect of a good meal. You know, if you eat really well for a day, and then you feel good after that. You know, I had salad and a hearty bowl of soup, and maybe a slice of multi-grain bread, and just good stuff. And then the result is you just kind of have an enhanced well-being all around. That's what it feels like immediately after a plunge in the cold sea, particularly in the wavy part. And that lingers. I can feel it on my skin right now, because the kiss of the sun just doesn't have. There's sand still coming out of my ears, and spills out of my hair. There's sand everywhere. So yesterday was a good day. Today I have a solid day of work ahead of me. I'm going to be able to finally tackle one of my projects that I've been not neglecting. I completed the project successfully, but we're moving on to phase 2. And I need to, here comes a dog. I need to, come up here? Come on. Come on, Ellie. I need to begin working on the phase 2 activities, which is a lot of intense work. And that's what I plan to do today. There he is. Come on up. Come here, boy. Good boy. The other dog's down there in his little bed. Here you go. I'll make room for you. Let's do the good life meditation. Let's discuss, enumerate categorically the good life creed. First, before first, the good life creed is available in my book. I keep forgetting that I've got to talk about the book. That's the centerpiece of what I'm doing here. My book, Going Alone, it's in here. It's a chapter. It's near the back, called The Good Life. And in that chapter, I enumerate all of the, here they are, all of these objectives and principles. You can see that, really. Be always ready to die, and then a description of it, and then make good and effective use of time, and then a description of that. So you can, if you get the book, you can read along, you can follow along, so to speak. But then that's near the back of the book. Most of the book is telling the story of how I developed these objectives and principles, or really not how I developed them so much as the adventure, the great life adventure that I had that led me to need the good life creed, because this adventure of going alone led me to a position where I believe that there is no God. I believe that there is no oversight of our universe, that we are alone, as you and me, as a species, as life on this planet. Seemingly, we're in a hostile, empty universe that, for the most part, can't support us, and we're all alone on this one little speck. And rather than devolve into nihilism and say, well, what's the use? I chose instead to muster my best efforts with my ability to think and use all of the reading that I've done and all the experiences that I've had to extract out objectives for my life, something to live for, and principles which could guide me along the way. And that is what I call the good life creed. Now, the good life is clearly borrowing from the Stoics. That's a Stoic idea. But I'm happy to borrow from them. But a lot, and some of the ideas within the good life creed are certainly very Stoic influence, if not Stoic themselves. I begged, borrowed, and stole these things as best I could. But I think for the most part, my summation and my naming of them are roughly my own. Some of these things are outright inventions of my own. But anyway, this is the book, and it is available on Amazon in hardback, paperback, and ebook. You can also get a copy from any bookstore, at least in North America. Just go into the bookstore and ask them if you have Going Alone by Kurt Bell. If they don't have it, they'll order it, and they'll bring it into the store, and maybe they'll put a few copies on the shelf. I recommend the hardbound edition. That's my favorite. It's built to last. Now, for the most part, I've got the Good Life Creed, the 7 objectives and 32 principles in my head, so I don't need to refer to the book, but every once in a while I will. But here we go. And I'm slowly, since my move, beginning to work up the inertia and the momentum to do a better job of describing these ideas, rather than just a cursory recitation from memory. Let's see how I can do today. I still reserve the right to go fast. 1. My first objective is to be always ready to die, to have my life's affairs, my paperwork, my relationships, the connections with the people in my life, and my life's work, the thing that I've done that I want to leave behind, that I'm glad to leave behind, which is namely my book, complete, in a good state. If not done, at least in a nice settled position. So maybe complete was not the best word to use. Settled. Like if I if I were to die today, the paperwork's all right over there. Yumiko knows where it is. It's got all the accounts for everything, all the information, including a short list, and a list of all of our bank accounts and access information that she can use. So, pension information, of course, all that stuff is right there. Relationships, my relationships are in good order. Even my mom, to the best of my ability. And my life's work, my book is done, and it's available on Amazon. And what more can I do? Yeah, number one is in good shape. Number two is to make good and effective use of my time. To not be wasting my days, frittering them away, letting them slip between my fingers like sand. But to have objectives for every day, which I'm beginning to lay out. I'll write them down when I'm done. I'll write down what my objectives are for today. And different from my objectives in the Good Life Creed, this is my daily objectives, the things I plan to do today to make today a good day. And then when I have free time, to try to do things that are a good use of that time. Don't have a lot of time for TV in my life, or gossip, or rumor, or just, even naps. I mean, I know naps are good, but there's gratuitous naps, I should say. There's just not enough time. I have so little time left, and I want to make good use of it. Number 3 is to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. That's these 7 objectives and 30 principles that I'm relating now. This includes the objectives too. It's a little too wordy if I put the word objective in there. And I do that by this exercise every day of thinking about my life objectives and principles, and working them through in my head, shining a spotlight on the every side, especially the dark sides that I may have missed, to see if they are sound. Sound meaning that they're not hollow. If you rap at them, they're not going to reveal some faulty crack or hollow interior that belies their if not their goodness, at least their strength and firmness in the world. Next is number 4, is to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become someone who reacts well to the challenges of life. I'm going to back up in just a second. I had a second thought. Let me back up now. Hit the rewind button. Back to develop and maintain good and sound life principles. Something that I've begun doing just recently since the move is I'm sharing more about Yumiko and I, our life together on social media. That's deliberate, very deliberate. And I'm doing so by way of sharing the message within my book, Going Alone. And I use hashtags. So let me show you. In the aforementioned chapter called The Good Life, there is this long 2 pages beginning here, half a page here, and then over here, much bigger page of hashtags. You see, like hashtag distraction, hashtag maturity, hashtag biology, hashtag homunculus. And what I'm doing is that as Yumiko and I go through our lives together, or if I'm alone, as I do my own thing, I find myself throughout the day exercising the good life, applying it to certain things. And I can pick that out because I think about it, and I think, oh, well, here's an exercise. Here's a chance for me to exercise a little temperance, waiting in this impatient line when my feet hurt. It's also hashtag nature, the nature of lines to cause you to wait, and it's the nature of feet to hurt if they've been stood on all day. Oh, wouldn't that be great to have an ice cream from the ice cream store right over there? Hashtag temperance. You already had a cookie. So one of the things I'm doing to bring these principles and objectives closer to my mind throughout the day is hashtagging them as I go through the day. And I do this in my mind even if I don't make a social media post. I'll think out loud and think about hashtag this, hashtag that. It's a very interesting thing. And if you follow any of my social media, Facebook, Instagram, my Facebook pages, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, you'll see those little hashtags all over the place, and that's deliberate. That's another part of this exercise. Now, back forward a little bit to make good emotional reactions. I get ambushed. I think we all do. By circumstance, things suddenly happen that leave me upset. Although it's increasingly rare that I actually, demonstrate that upsetness to the world. I tend to be able to hold it in. And sometimes it just goes away. Sometimes I need to think about it afterwards, but for the most part, it's like just kind of like bracing oneself for a summer shower. You just get wet, and then the sun comes out, and the wetness goes away. So that's what that objective is all about. I don't want to become famous amongst my family for a bad temper, which I used to have. Not a horrible temper, but I used to have when it wasn't that I had a temper. It was as much as that I was mercurial with the day, right? As the sun was out, I was joyful when so to speak, when the proverbial clouds came, life's clouds came. Everybody knew it. I wasn't happy, and I wasn't mean or cruel or violent by any means, but I certainly was. I wore my emotions on my shoulder, and I do that less now, far less. In fact, I think it's pretty hard now to determine what the inner man looks like necessarily by my outward appearance. I'm pretty staid and stoic throughout the day, and that's deliberate. That's then an effort. It's a project, and I'm better off for it, and my family's better off for it. My coworkers are better off for it. The society at large is better off for it, because I'm a person that can be relied upon to fulfill my duty with far less complaint. The next objective is to do good things. Just little things, big things, small, medium-sized things too, throughout the day. You know what I mean? By just things that make the world a better place. Improve the well-being of all of us. Next is the recognition. Pardon me. More coffee. Next is the recognition of true limits and true opportunity. To not be flying off the hand. No, sorry, that's different. I'm feeling there's a little wave of fatigue just kind of come over me all at once. I need a little more caffeine. Recognition of true limits and true opportunity. Recognizing what I can and cannot possibly do, or not likely do, and focus my efforts and time on the things that I can. And then to do just one thing at a time, and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. That's the last one. No multitasking, or where I can avoid it. Okay, those are my 7 objectives. Pretty well thought out. Well, what I mean by that is well examined in this exercise. I did a good job of talking about them and then explaining them a little bit and thinking about them. It's pretty rare that I have moments of aha anymore when I'm doing this. The aha moments come in the heat of the day, going about and shopping and suddenly realizing that one principle is faulty for one way or another, and how I can improve it. This exercise does better just to instill them clearly and plainly, right in my forefront of my mind. Okay, now the 32 principles as follows. First is the principle of war, to always be fighting against what I already think is true, what other people propose to me is true, and whatever I think I might or should onboard as true. I'm going to run those things through the ringer. If they're consequential, trivial things, I don't mind. If Yumiko tells me she bought a new brand of Parmesan cheese, I'll believe her. But if she tells me that that Parmesan cheese needs to be used for a ritual sacrifice to a deity that she's discovered, we're going to need to talk about that. requires it's a greater claim, a more extraordinary claim. It requires more extraordinary evidence for me to believe it. So too throughout everything in my life. 2 is the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. To be a reasonable man, I need to be honest with myself and others. I need to be objective, looking at things in a clear light. Honesty, objectivity, see, this is where I kind of forget. But I can use the book. It's been so long. It's been like a couple of weeks since I started doing this in depth. I can always look at the book and tell me honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. Oh yeah, skeptic. I need to be a doubt. So I need to be honest. To be reasonable, I need to be honest, objective, doubtful. I mean, fierce, skeptic, and willing to be to enjoy, or if not enjoy, to welcome the humiliation of discovering that I'm wrong. That's right. Three is the homunculus. As I mentioned, I don't believe in God. Or at least I don't believe in any of the God claims that have been suggested to me. I haven't found a single one of them that has any good reason to think that they're true. As a result, I don't think that either that I have a soul, or that there's any forever, or any afterlife, heaven or hell, all of these things. All I've got, I think all any of us has, is our consciousness. This little thing that seems to be awake right now, operating just behind my forehead. I think it's, maybe you feel it there too, a little above the eyes, between about here, kind of like is operating everything. I call that the homunculus, in homage to an old term that was used to describe religious ascetics that would that would wall themselves up in the side of churches for the purpose of devotion and prayer. And I see my consciousness is walled up inside me, although not very devoted to worship or prayer, rather devoted to reason and the aforementioned war and the pursuit of virtue. And it's the chief part of that, and that's the next principle, is called the anchor hold. This consciousness is not immortal. It will wink out like a candle going out, or stop like the music when it goes off, when it stops. It doesn't go anywhere. It just stops. It just goes away. That's what's going to happen when I die. When this heart stops beating, the blood stops circulating, and my consciousness winks out. That's the end of me. It's the end of all of us. So that's a very sobering idea. So I think about it every day, because it causes me to live well, without a reserve of time or forever, a reserve of forever to bank on. There's no time and I hear people talk about not of this world. From my perspective, that means that you're missing everything, banking on another world that I don't think ever will be. Okay, next is the home of good and evil. Right and wrong are opinions and perspectives that we have. They don't exist as absolutes in the universe. As I like to say, there's no good floating amongst the stars and no evil in a grain of sand. They just are. Good and evil are the opinions that we hold about the world. They're subjective at their root. They become objective when two or more sentient creatures, namely humans in this case, come to some agreement about what constitutes right or wrong. Although my little dog and I, he's a sentient creature, he and I have agreement, both of them, agreement about what constitutes right or wrong as well. So I guess it can be any sentient creatures that can come to a kind of an agreement, and then it kind of becomes objective in that sense. We all three of us, the two little dogs and I, like to come in out of the cold. We're in agreement that the cold, extended exposure to the cold outdoors in the wintertime ain't good for us. Doesn't mean that that exposure is wrong or evil in its own right. It's just that that's our opinion, and that's what and a consensus that we've reached by virtue of our shared experience. Next is the principle of purpose. There are 3 sub-purpose in my life. These are 1, biology. I call it biology, although it's not biology, the science. I use this word to describe the seeming biological mandate to reproduce, to find a mate, reproduce, have a child, raise that child to adulthood, and then get out of the way. And I'm in the get out of the way part now. So I pretty much fulfilled that one. Just a few more years to get her through college and safely settled into her own life. And then Yumiko and I will step to the background there for her. Be there for her, but it's her center stage at that point. 2, the second purpose is virtue. To live as a virtuous man, to pursue the well-being of aforementioned thinking creatures. 3 is to pursue the sharing of my mission, my story, my personal mission, which is my book, Going Alone, sharing the story. That's what I do every day by doing this video and all the social media tags that I do and everything. Basically, my whole life now is all about marketing Going Alone. And then namely, the Good Life Creed. But more than the Good Life Creed, I also want to, the part I don't talk about very often is the adventure part that leads to the discovery of that God doesn't exist. That's an important part of it too. Because it's when we have that realization that we begin to either run away in fear or, no, that's not what happens. What happens is, if instead of running away in fear, we just choose to adopt the premise that God exists, and then we onboard that. And if we don't have sufficient reason to believe, we just readily adopt the readily available excuse that faith is our basis, which is a nonsense thing. Faith is nothing more than using the wish for the belief as the basis for the belief, which is absolutely circular. No foundation there at all. So that's the one route that people will take if they don't want to face the empty universe. The other route is then to say, well, okay, well, I'm on my own. What am I going to do with that? And that's the route that I took, and that's the route that I heartily recommend, because I think it's better grounded in the facts of the evidence that are before us, not wishful thinking or vain allegiance to dogma or authority. There, and I covered purpose. Now the next one is the atomic principle. Everything is made of atoms and molecules and animated by energy. And so too you and me. And likewise, when I die, I'll just dissolve away or be burned up or rot away or whatever, or be swallowed up by beasts, however I'll end. And back into the system. And then the principle of nature. Everything has some particular nature, including you and me and these dogs and this room and the place where I live, this city. The city it's a very interesting nature. I like the nature of Huntington Beach. It's a good place. Maybe the best place I've ever lived. Then comes the pirate ride. The suggestion that free will is an illusion. We don't have control over our decisions. Our decisions are, in essence, if not dictated to us, at least suggested by the inertias of the universe, the way that the flowing energies and all the past precedent conspire together. We're like corks being bobbed around on the top of a sea. And we have this seeming sense that we can make our own choices, but really, if the universe were to be able to replay itself over and over again exactly the same way, we would always make the same choices exactly the same way every time, because there are no variables that would allow us to do otherwise. We are consequence engines, being moved to the left or the right in the same way that a stream winding down a mountain does. So as well by the topography and geology and natural forces that surround us. I can't demonstrate that. I can't prove it because I don't have a time machine. I can't demonstrate this. I don't know how to do that. But I believe it. I believe it. And this is, I just gave, a moment ago, was giving faith a hard time, yet I am guilty of using faith. I use faith to support my belief that free will is an illusion. So I surrender to the label of fool. I can't help it. I believe it. There's a little part of me that protests and goes, no! But there it is. And that helps me in a way. I have some sympathy with those who believe the things that they believe. I know that there are things that we believe that we might not be able to not believe. And we may not have no choice in that either. What did Christopher Hitchens said? I know that we have free. Wait, I can't remember what he said. There's a picture of him right up there. I can't remember. He has a great line about free will. Anyway, moving on. Next is maturity, and its sub-principles of wisdom and fortitude and integrity. We arrive at a mature state when we wisely remember our past successes and failures, and it takes time to have the memory of successes and failures. So that's one of the reasons why the young are typically not very wise, because they don't have the background of successes and failures. And you can't really be wise off of the success and failures of others. Some people can pull that off in a way, but most can't. It takes time. So we make a lot of mistakes in our 20s and 30s and then start to get our act together. People like me make their mistakes into their 60s. And then the second part of that is, so maturity consists of wisdom and fortitude. Wisdom, the aforementioned experiences, and then fortitude, the ability to be strong and to carry on. And then and that's something that it takes discipline and effort and time to gain that as well. And then 3 is integrity, which is an end result when our life is then our consequences, our life activities and actions are in alignment with our values. We have a life of integrity. That's a very good feeling. That's where the soundness comes in of life, when we have really good principles aiming towards really good objectives. And then we've got our life in alignment with that. You knock on that. It's like knocking on this guy. There's no hollowness in there. It's very sound. Did you know you were very sound? Okay. After that comes maturity, comes the social principle. We're social creatures. We need each other. And then public speaking. Oh, by the way, the social principle has a couple of sub-principles. These would be diplomacy, justice. What are they? It's been a while. Diplomacy, justice, and conspiracy. Diplomacy is what we do when the effort of working together to reach consensus. Justice is the end result that we're after. And then conspiracy is when we link arms. I'm talking about in the social element. Link arms to achieve those ends. Next comes public speaking. And the sub-principles there are best words. Actually, there's more. This is an old copy. It doesn't have all of them in there. All of them in there. Best words, rumor, gossip, and there was more. Oh, yes. It's, I remember. I'm taking off. I can hear the neighbor. They're in the next room. What is it? Prudence. That's right, prudence. So public speaking is choosing the right words for the message I want to convey. Prudence is being able to, best words, prudence, eloquence, and what was the last one? Oh yeah, rumor and gossip is 5. Okay, best words: prudence, eloquence, rumor, and gossip. That's right. Public speaking consists of being able to choose the right words for the message that I want to convey, having a good vocabulary. Prudence, being able to filter my values through my words, so that I'm not saying things that are untoward or that are off the mark of what I'm trying to achieve in terms of values. Eloquence comes with practice, to be able to speak clearly. See, I'm losing my mark a little bit, knowing my neighbors right there. I don't want to disturb them. And then rumor and gossip. Those are negative things. I don't want to do those. Okay, I'm gonna just go a little quickly through the rest, because I feel what is the word? I don't want to bother my neighbors. Okay, the next piece is I think it's 5. Temperance. Life will not go well. The horror show. That which must be born. And the Feast of Offal. This is what we do when we control our consumption of life, and recognize and are able to control our reactions. And we recognize that difficult things are going to happen today and every day. Sometimes horrible things that will happen as well, that will be almost beyond our belief, that will wipe us out. They're coming. And then realizing that we have to bear a lot of that, simply live through it until we don't, until we die, until it kills us. And then to rein in our reactions. That's the Feast of Offal, is when we get upset and throw it all out into the world. I want to rein that in. I think I covered that. I didn't cover it very eloquently, but I think I got it across. Next is distraction and agency and the great indifference. I think I did them backwards. I think those belong first. I'm all flustered now. Distraction is what we do to avoid the fact of seeing the universe without God, an empty universe. That's what I call the great indifference. That's what can come of going alone. And a lot of us don't want to see that, so we distract ourselves with all the things that keep us busy in life, all our life long until we're dead, having to distract ourselves to the end, promising ourselves some sort of forever. Next comes then all that, and then the best seat in the house. To not want to be anyone else, be anywhere else, or be doing anything else, but to be okay with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. Then comes I might need a little help, but do I need a little help? A little stuck. Oh yeah, the restless man. Restless man, the path of wildness, the great life adventure. It's the answer to this restlessness that some of us feel, particularly in our youth, but that we should address. If we don't address it, it'll haunt us all of our lives. By addressing it, we step upon the path of wildness, which leads us to the great life adventure. And collecting a handful, or at least one, great life adventure in the course of our lives pays great dividends throughout our life. And it answers the restlessness within. It does indeed answer it. It satisfies it. It has sort of been great results throughout our life. Then comes the risk of avoiding risk, the surface level risks of life, and the deep risk. The surface level risks are 5. I haven't done this in so long I keep forgetting. They are education, career, home, family, and saving for retirement. And we are encouraged all of our lives to do all of those things. Go to good school, get a good job, marry that guy or gal, buy that house, and start a 401k or a pension. We can spend all of our lives working on those 5. But the trick is, and not all of us feel this, if we feel a longing for the deep desire to discover ourselves, to have some adventure, to learn about ourselves, and we don't do anything about that, that's a very deep risk. The problem is that we're not typically encouraged to do that in life. Few people are few of our parents are going to say, yeah, go ahead and do that thing. Take a guitar and strap it on your back and go hitchhike around Albania for a summer. Whatever the case may be. Become an actor. But there's something to be said for doing that kind of stuff. So I recommend the season for that being the after college, from about 25 to 30. That's the time to have a great life adventure. If you do that, we may answer that call. That little voice will become, if not silent, at least a little more manageable within us. If we don't do it, it becomes more plaintive as we get older. We might wind up with a beautiful home and career, having had a good career and a nice family and a beautiful life with a great retirement, but always feeling like something was missing. And you can't do it late. It doesn't work. It feels that it's like a lesser filler of sorts. It kind of fills the gap, but not the same, and you'll know it. It'll be less solid, something hollow. Then comes sin and damnation. There are 7 sins in my worldview: falsity, credulity, faith, superstition, dogma, authority, gossip, and rumor. So that 8. Did I say 7? I meant 8. Doing all those things, any of those things, results in damnation in the here and now. Complete oblivion, afterlife. If there's no God and no afterlife and no soul, then there will be no reunion with the loved ones after we die. No chance to reconcile our differences, and no happy reunion, no happy reconciliation, no justice. All we can do is attend to those things in the time that we have alive. The bullseye aim, shooting from the mark and usually missing. It's what happens throughout the day. The uphill climb, trudging up in life, every day a step forward, every day a step higher. Arena and utility. Life is an arena for the development of principles and objectives that we can use to live a better life. Nothing is enough. A suggestion towards less. And then finally, the principle of fun. A reminder to have a good time. Enjoy this day as much as we can. Okay, now let's plan for the coming day. I've done my creed. Let's plan for the coming day. It's a work day. I'll finish this. I'll upload this. Then I'll read my Bible. I'll feed the dogs, walk the dogs, start my work day, and have a good solid day of work. What objectives do I want to do today? I want to work. I want to swim. I'm going to swim at lunchtime. Take an hour off for lunch and just go to the beach and swim. Work, swim. I need to go get dog food after work. I'll do that. I'll actually walk the dogs. Maybe I can't do that. Target's just like within walking distance. I could walk them there, but they're not good inside stores. And then evening. It's simple enough. Walk the dogs, swim in the sea, get dog food, and then have a nice evening with my wife. All right. Thanks for joining me. I wish you all the best. Be safe, but not too safe.